Hello, Small Train family from Africa. I hope you and your families are doing well. My name is Monica Dominguez. I am Area Director for Mexico, Central America, and Caribbean. Thank you so much for having me here and giving me the opportunity to share with you the efforts and initiatives we have done in nutrition in my subregion. We have previously learned with Pam Shiran the super important role of nutrition into the CLEF comprehensive care. And we've seen how nutrition is the key to make sure that our patients are developing to their maximum potential. That's why Small Train is striving for a world where every baby born with a cleft has the opportunity to thrive and grow healthily without being held back by any feeding challenges related to their cleft. You see that we have been very clear and insistent on having a comprehensive rehabilitation of the patients, knowing that they are human beings and they have different areas that we need to care about for them to be able to be inserted back in society and develop as healthy as they can. So in this regard, we have joint efforts with our research advisors. So we have on the left, Dr. Marcia Perez Osal. She is a plastic surgeon and a researcher. And currently, she is our advisor in the research area and has helped us put together different initiatives to elevate the standards of care and trying to find different ways to achieve all of our goals, which is having our patients live fulfilled and productive lives. And also we have the expert nutritionist, Licenciado Jose Antonio Mancera. He's a nutritionist, he's very young, but he has a lot of experience. And he's been working on a CLEF center for many years. And he's been very close to Small Train, understanding our model and helping us develop and deliver different opportunities for all the professionals in nutrition. So we started with a situational diagnosis. What we did is we put together a survey with different questions that we previously discussed with our experts to make sure that we were able by the end of this survey to gather important and valuable information to help us guide our next efforts. So in this survey, we were able to identify what kind of staff we had available in our centers. So to see if we had people who were offering feeding counseling, if we had actually nutritionists, or if we had nutritionists specialized in cleft. So just to have like a map of the whole region and identifying also the needs in training. So what kind of training they would like to have, what kind of training they feel that they need to have to develop and to offer the care that our patients deserve. We also could find the kind of equipment that they have in place. So the kind of equipment that they count on at their centers and the equipment that they wish they had and the equipment that they know and they understand is what they would like to have to really offer the care that they understand is the best care that they can offer to the patients. Also, the same thing with the supplies and the protocols. You know, with these protocols, we wanted to understand what kind of assessments and what kind of treatment they were offering to the patients. For how long, you know, like how long does it take to do evaluations, and just understand a little bit more of what they do currently. With this information, we were able to do a classification of our centers. So we could understood that there are different kind of challenges. Not all of the centers have all the professionals that we wish there were to offer specialized nutrition care for our cleft patients. But we understand that there are professionals that have a big potential to be delivering at least the basic, which is feeding counseling, and also doing proper assessments to at least identify patients that need nutrition care and can refer all these patients to those centers. So the classification goes to feeding counseling center. which are the centers that I have already mentioned, the ones that I have. Sometimes it's not a specifically a nutritionist or someone involved in nutrition, but sometimes even the dentist, odontologist, sometimes a speech therapist, social workers, sometimes moms that they become volunteers at these centers. So for them to be able to offer a feeding counseling and do a proper assessment and evaluation of the patient. So all moms being coming to their centers, all of them will leave in the first appointment with this crucial information on the nutrition of the baby. And then we have a second classification, which is nutrition care center, that this is a center where we have nutritionists in place and they are able to do assessment, they are able to do feeding counseling, but also they are able to, after identifying some of the patients in need of nutrition care, they can put together a protocol of care, a plan of nutrition, and knowing these specific scales and doing these equations to be able to offer a patient the nutrition and supplements for them to grow in a healthy way. And finally, we have a specialized nutrition center. We currently and luckily don't have as much need on this, but we do identify, at least in Guatemala, which is a country where we have seen the highest malnutrition in the whole region. And we needed to develop specific and specialized nutrition centers there by the severity of the malnutrition, for them not only to give counseling or assessment, but specific malnutrition care with different medicines, with different protocols, which are more urgent because of these malnutritions can really affect the development of the babies. So with these three pillars in mind, we also developed specific trainings for them to have all the information and materials needed to be able to offer the care. So our first nutrition online training took place in November 2018. And we had 15 sessions and evaluation, which are initial and final evaluations. And during all these course, we covered different topics such as assessment. We had a really wide and really rich sessions on breastfeeding, complementary feeding. We also have nutrition care process, specifically for newborns and for toddlers. We studied swallowing process, malnutrition, and some topics on picky eaters. And after this training, which also we developed a specific manual, which is a really nice tool and material that they could keep with them, and just to go back whenever they had a doubt or a question, they could always go back to the materials and reinforce the information. After this, we identified that we were able to grow the number of centers that used to have a nutritionist, and putting together all these efforts, we got more specialists interested on join our CLAC centers. So we kind of like starting from there, elevating this care. But then afterwards, we also developed this training that it went more specifically into the feeding counseling piece. So we also developed a manual, and we had a 2-session training. It was like 4-hour-long sessions, and by covering 2 specific topics, which is feeding counseling and nutrition assessment. So this way we have, as I mentioned before, all kind of specialists such as dentists, dentists in pediatrics. We have pediatricians, we have general doctors, social workers, nurses, among others, to take this training. And by the end, they were able to have enough information and materials to do a proper assessment of the patients, identifying when they needed more than feeding counseling, and being able to refer these patients to a center where they could get this care. And on the equipment regard, we also put together a toolkit for them based on the information that our experts brought to us, and knowing what kind of equipment all of our partners would need in order to offer in the feeding counseling centers, which we hope to have all of our partners offering at least this piece, which is the feeding counseling. And like making sure that they have the scales and they have the high measurement devices, some supplies such as special bottles, formulas, pumps, among other things. And we had a different toolkit depending on the kind of classification of center. So for nutrition center, they would have, what that the feeding counseling center has, plus some other specific things and equipment, and the same for the specialized nutrition center. And this is for the equipment and supplies piece. Besides all of this, we got also to put together some research efforts. So with the situational diagnosis at the beginning that we did in our region, we got to do the sessions on the training, the two session trainings that we did for the nutrition and we did for the feeding counseling. And for that, we were able to evaluate the academic intervention and professionals dedicated to nutrition in Blackfoot and Pampala. So with the assessment that we did to the participants at the beginning and at the end, we could identify which kind of materials were more important, are the impact that our effort in the academic side had into the participants. So we were able to do a small research in that. And from there, we could identify what would be like the next effort with that. And also, we are able to measure the impact of the organizational intervention in CLEFT centers to improve nutrition care. So this intervention is practically all the efforts in the academic piece, all the efforts in the equipment and the supplies and the protocols, and just making sure all of our partner centers have a specialist dedicated to offer the feeding counseling and nutrition care. So with this, we are kind of getting started in some of these efforts, and I hope to bring some more news later on. But for now, I think it's very important for all the organizations to be able to speak the same language in the nutrition piece, and just knowing how important this is for our patients, for the families also to understand the importance of this, and for our partner centers to know what the role of nutrition is, what are the possibilities that we can achieve having a professionals in place, and also knowing always that the Smile Train is there to support on all these efforts. So now we will have Andrea Naya, who will share a little bit more on some of the materials and tools that we have developed in this regard, for all these new modalities that we had to develop given COVID. So thank you so much and have a really wonderful day.